Welcome back, Econ Studs, Chapter 25, Productivity. Let the macro fun begin. This chapter is all about productivity, and the simple definition of this is it is the amount of goods and services, which I'll just label G and S, produced from each hour of a worker's time. Productivity is like the golden goose, the golden egg, I should say, of economics. If we want to make people wealthier and more advanced, you need to increase productivity. This is the holy grail of economics. Our whole goal in development is to increase productivity. And there's a way we can measure this and show if a society is productive or not. And we have something called the production function. And it looks like this. Y equals A times the function L, K, H, and N. What exactly does this mean? Well, let's break down the variables. Y equals output. How much stuff is your society producing? A is your production technology. All your machines and tools that you can use to make things. Then we have this function, the F, this stands for the function of, and it's this mix of L, which is labor, K, which is physical capital, and what's physical capital? It's things like tools, machines, factories, things that you will use to produce something. That's physical capital. We then have H, which is human capital. And human capital is what you have right now. It's education. And then finally we have N, which is natural resources. This is everything that goes into your productivity. The technology you use and how it's being used with labor, physical capital, human capital, and natural resources. Now, sometimes we get confused how this is going to be used, so Mankio is a great example, I think, the difference between technology and human capital. A textbook is the technology, and the time spent reading this book is the human capital. Human capital is the time spent doing something. Technology is allowing us to get better at something. This is what's going to allow us to be productive. Do you have to see how all the mathematics works out in it? No. You just have to know all of this stuff that goes into what creates the production function. Now, we're trying to increase productivity, so how do you do that? And that's the great question. How do you grow? And the big thing here is savings. The money you earn, you have two decisions to make. You can consume with it or you can save with it. That's all you can do. If you want to increase the productivity and the growth in your community, save more money, consume less. How does this work? Savings is turned into investment. And investment is things like capital, physical capital, human capital. This then allows growth to take place. And this will then make our people healthier, wealthier, and better off. And how do we get more savings, or how do we get more growth? Well, there is one, just saving money. But if you're already really poor, how do you save more money? Maybe that's hard to do. And so instead, what you're looking for is getting funds from abroad. And that looks like we have investment from abroad. We can break this into two categories. We have foreign direct investment, known as FDI. We covered this in globalization, which is like setting up a factory in a foreign country. And with this comes jobs and ideas and skills. And we also have foreign portfolio investment. And this is more along the lines of money. Maybe I buy Japanese bonds, or maybe I buy stock in a Brazilian company. This is more of your traditional stocks and bonds, money to the portfolio investment. So this investment from abroad. How else do we grow? Education. The more educated our workforce, guess what? The more productive we will be and the better off we'll be. That's what we say. Go to college. Get more education in this country. You'll make more money because you'll be more productive. The next idea is property rights. We saw this idea when we watched Neil Ferguson's video on the convergence between Western societies and places like China and India, and then we have this reconvergence over the last 30 years. Property rights, the idea that you own something. If you own something, you'll take care of it. You have contracts that make things happen. You have the government's guarantee that if something gets stolen, they will get it back for you. This is really critical also, and we'll get into more of this next week, why property rights are so critical to growth. Our good friend trade pops up again too. We saw this with China, with East Asia. It really leads to growth. And finally, we have technology. The more technology you have, the easier it is to grow. Now, the book is going to talk about whether it is better to be wealthy or to be poor when it comes to rate of growth. The idea is the poorer you are, the faster you're going to grow. And I'll leave it up to you to read to understand that. And then there's the next question, like if we grow and we become healthier and wealthier, do we have too many people? Does that put a burden on our society? If all of a sudden we have more mouths to feed and we have more people taking resources, scarce resources, does that then, like, we've made a step forward in let's say Tanzania, and all of a sudden we are supposedly better off, but now people are living longer, so they're using more resources and they're healthier, use more resources. Now all of a sudden we're back to being poor again. I want you to read also chapter 25 about this guy named Thomas Malthus. He's an interesting character from 19th century England. He makes some grand projections that turn out to be wrong so far, but will they be wrong long term? That's something to figure out. But this is our basis of chapter 25. It's all about productivity. It's about growing our economy through these ideas. And how do we grow faster? We focus on these ideas. Please read the book. We will have our assessment coming up soon. When in doubt, graph it out.